Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Are Worthy Network. I'm the hostess with the mostest, Miss Jacqueline Charles, the founder and creator. We want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Women Are Worthy Network. Okay, let me begin by saying my glasses are cute, y'all. I promise you, but I can't read a doggone thing with them. So let me put them aside. Gotta put them aside because I gotta get with it. So I want everyone. We have the honor of meeting and having a conversation with the one and only celebrity chef, Mr. Darryl Taylor. Darryl Taylor. He's also not just a celebrity chef. He's 360. He's also the founder of Overflow End Stage Renal Foundation. It's his personal 501c3 foundation. We're going to be talking about that. But y'all, guess what? When I tell you we stepping up and stepping out, how about Darryl is going to be on? He's going to be on Ramsay's Next Level Chef Show on Fox. Try saying that 10 times. Try saying that 10 times. Okay. This man, he has celebrity clients. He is phenomenal. When I tell you, I was so happy that he agreed to do this show. I'm happy. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on here in his, with his 501c3 foundation. As a recovering patient of dialysis and a successful kidney transplant, y'all hear me? That kidney transplant allowed this man to be here so he could be chopping it up with us, okay?
Yeah.
Amen. His story strikes home regarding the need within our community. And y'all know in our community, we really don't like to do a lot of, or you know what, we're not educated regarding giving blood and also when it comes to transplant. But this is a man that's living and breathing, and he's here with us. So without further ado, the Women Are Worthy Network, we welcome Mr. and the chef, Darryl Taylor.
Oh my God. What an introduction. You gotta love it, right?
Yes, well, it's you, it's not me. You're the one doing phenomenal things, Mr. Taylor. When I grow up, I want to be you.
And I am loving it. Only God could do such a thing. From death's doors to now. You know, after battling and fighting for my life of 17 years of end stage renal disease, being on dialysis for 17 years, so many times I wanted to give up. So many times, you know, I wanted to give up. And never did I even see this day.
What made you, because of what's going on in the world, what made you, and I really want to speak about this because of the self harm that's going on, what made you not give up?
Oh God. Um, my faith, but even that wasn't enough.
Mm.
Because I did want to die because I'm like, God, why would you have me to go through this dialysis crap? That's what I called it. Because December 3rd, 2012, I had a near death experience. And that changed my life. God would always put the right people in place, and which I didn't even see, didn't know. Um, I would get so down and depressed. I would call certain people and say, I just want to give up. I just want to throw in the towel. And they'd be like, my godmom would say, Darryl, the way she called my name, he would just have people in place and kind of pushed me, pushed me to this day, I guess. But going through that experience kind of blew my mind and changed my life because it gave me, it just showed me that there was a purpose for my life.
Mm.
In spite of being on dialysis all those years, I saw my true purpose and it all blew my mind. I saw that I would be transplanted and even I saw so much. And I'm so grateful that God chose me to go through dialysis, end stage renal disease, renal failure. And it's like, he said, hey, you can put that on this boy. This is my child. I'm going to walk him through the whole process. And in the end, I'm going to have him to tell him my amazing power and my goodness. And that's one of the reasons he took me all the way to the United Kingdom to be on this show, to tell of his amazing power and his goodness on national platform, a show that I didn't even apply for.
What?
Didn't even apply for it. You know, I've always wanted to be on that show. I'd even prayed uh, and said, Lord, I would love to be on his show. Not this show, but one of his shows when he first came on the scene. And being very specific and very detailed and not even knowing I was. That's something I learned from dying. Be specific and very detailed.
See, what I
And
want you to talk about as well, because you have a phenomenal story.
mhm.
So often, Darryl, if you don't mind me calling you Darryl, I can call you Mr. Taylor.
No, that is fine. Darryl is fine.
Darryl, what I want people to understand is so often we have a mission, we think we have a purpose, or
Hmm.
we don't know we have a purpose, right? But we want to do something, and it ends up being our purpose. Can you explain to people, because now is the time to go out, show up, and live your life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's
I'll
no
say
such thing
this.
as failure. Explain that to us, my brother.
Every dream that we have as vessels, we're all belong to God. Every dream that you have, everything you want to accomplish in this life, God placed it in you. He knew who you were going to be when you were born. Everything that you even desire, He placed in us. And every dream that He's placed in you, fight and do the work. And no matter what challenges come your way, just be faithful, prayerful, and push. Because I'm just gonna say I wanted to give up. I really, really, really wanted to give up because Dallas is really tough, very tough, and I am so glad that I made it. You know, I even forgot the question you just asked me.
No, you answered it because you answered it without thinking you answered it, because it's so right now, and I'm being intentional. It's great going out there for the celebrity interviews, but I think we're all celebrities, in my opinion, because I
Yeah,
tell people if you sign a check or you have ever signed a check, that's your autograph. So you're immediately a celebrity.
right.
Because right now, there's a shift going on where people are, yes, we see meaner, evil,
Yeah,
horrible, but there's also where there's people who are showing empathy, people
yeah.
who are stepping out. Because, like you, myself, I left a lucrative job and this is what I wanted to do.
Hmm.
I didn't know how to do it, how I was going, how do you start it? But God kept telling me, just do it. Just do it. Don't worry
And
about
you
it.
are
Don't worry about
doing it.
anything else. Just do it. And I'm
Mhm.
telling you, David Robinson, the David brand just fell into my lap. And when I tell you, he's been a godsend. So God has been sending me people, angels, earth angels, as I call them. And I want people to live their life. But I really want to talk about, especially in the African American community, when it comes to donation. When in the other community, everybody will line up. Sometimes they got to turn folks away because they
Right,
got three people that matched. And in our community, it's almost like God gave me this and I'm going to die with this.
right,
And you can survive on one kidney.
right.
People don't, and then it reject, people just don't understand that. And I'm not making light of it because I've never donated, but my
Mhm.
card does say that I'm a donor.
That's
Okay.
awesome. That's
So,
awesome.
can you explain? I met a gentleman and he was going through some stuff and it was hard for him to get someone to donate. So we did a show and he eventually did get a match. Explain that process, because so people can be less afraid, so to speak, or hesitant, so to speak.
You know, I really did not want to be transplanted at first and went through the process. I was overweight. I was 289 pounds and not taking care of my body. And reason being, I was already on dialysis. I mean, what do I have to live for? That was my thought. But I just wasn't doing anything right. And I didn't want to be transplanted. And then I got serious about it, especially after the near death experience. Um, and I found out that there are so many ways of donation. We in our community, brown and black folk, we don't believe in transplanting. And it's so awful. And that's one thing I really want to try and reach and touch people to make them aware of um, donating an
Mhm.
organ, whether it's after death or being a living donor. Um, I would, try and contact the National Kidney Foundation and register, or even just when you go to renew your driver's license,
Mhm.
sign up, be a donor, at the time of death, or you can be a living donor, and not just for someone in your family, but anyone, because it was nowadays. I would say this: since I've been transplanted, right before going through the process, when I went for my post-operative visits, sitting in the lobby after being transplanted, just seeing all the people that had been transplanted, whether it was a kidney, a heart, or whatever it was, liver, um, seeing a lot of other races in there
Mhm.
that didn't have to endure dialysis. I would ask, so have you been transplanted? Yes, I just got transplanted 3 days ago, or a week ago, a month ago. I would say, how long did you have to do dialysis? Oh, no. Um, I went straight from when they found out my kidneys were going, they just, my doctor put in an order and and I was like, really? And I sat there like in disbelief, like so many people did not have to endure
Mhm.
dialysis. I'm like, how is that possible? But then the brown and black people, we have to suffer and go through dialysis. You know, I don't regret the 17 years that I, fought for my life on dialysis because I figured that was God's plan.
Right.
Even though He was directing me, leading me to do various things, but I was not listening. You know, do this, go here, do this. And I was like, I'm not doing that. God leads us, but we don't pay attention. You have to pay attention. He leads us all, but we don't listen to him. We all hear his voice.
With your foundation, what would you like, what's your goal for the next, let's say, 2 years with your foundation?
My goal, one thing I do, I want to try and reach people to help them become organ donors, whether it's by a living donation or end of life, you know.
Mhm.
Um, and one thing I did see on the inside of being on dialysis 17 years was that most dialysis patients are on fixed income and cannot afford various services and various things. So I saw a great need, especially during Christmas time. Um, so many people didn't know how they were going to pay bills, buy toys for the kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, the whole 9 yards. And so one thing I wanted to do was um, do toy drives. And
Mhm.
so talking about my near death experience, one thing when I asked God, why would you have me to endure this dialysis crack, was I was so bitter and angry. And I was told it was for other people. I'm like,
Mm.
for other people?
Mhm.
I said, yeah, it's for other people. So he would bring me people that work with me, work for me, that were on dialysis, chefs that were on dialysis,
Right.
just vessels. And I would just minister to them. Are you considering transplant? Are you this? Are you taking all your water? Are you taking uh, your calcium? Just various things. I would just talk to them. Well, you have to do this. If you want to be transplanted, they're going to check your record to see if you're doing all your treatments, to see if you're taking your calcium. All these things that are very important if you're on dialysis. And so I've coached a lot of people to help them become transplant ready. And so many have been transplanted. It's like when they come into my life, I giggle, I laugh. I say, you're going to be transplanted very soon. Even some individuals have a lot of health challenges. I said, you relax. God has angels all around you, some earthly and some angelic. And this is going to happen real fast because mine happened fast.
Mm-hmm.
After being turned down 3 times,
Mm.
it happened fast. Ah,
Turned down 3 times.
so the toy drive, that's so important because the first year I did it, so many dialysis patients came and they were crying, sobbing, saying they didn't know how they were going to provide for their family, their kids for Christmas. And I wanted to bless them with more than one toy, like bags of toys. They would just come shop like you're at a mall, just
Mm-hmm.
grabbing things, just fun. And it was such a great experience. And we did it for 6 years. And that's so important for me because I lost my father. I was 5 years old and he was killed. I know that has nothing to do with renal disease. But the thing about it is, Isaac Hayes and a lot of other people in Memphis, I'm from Memphis, Tennessee, they
Okay.
came together and did toy drive for my family. I had 6 kids.
Oh.
My mom had 6 kids. My father was deceased. He got killed working at a service station. Well, Isaac Hayes and a group of other people came together, did a toy drive for my family, and that took the stain off of my father dying.
So you have an inside view as a child, what
Right.
it felt like for Christmas. You know, your
Hmm.
father has passed, but you're getting all these toys. So it wasn't
Right.
like my father passed and Christmas is, yeah, of course you loved him and you missed him, but as a
Yes.
child, you get to see how the community
Right.
came through.
Hmm. And so it touches my heart to see all the vessels come, and it's we make it a fun experience,
Right.
so fun, and it just blesses me. Oh, I get excited every year, even the year after I was transplanted, which was November the 17th. And they said, well, you can't do the toy drive because COVID was just creeping out. And I
Right.
was like, no, we have to do the toy drive. We all had gloves and masks and temperature gauges. We got no outbreaks. It went off without a hitch.
Look at
And
God. Look
yeah,
at God.
yes. And Georgia Tech donated their facility to host the event. It was incredible. And we're still rolling, coming into 7 years.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You are awesome. Okay, so now let's talk about, because I'm a foodie. Okay, it doesn't
Ah,
matter. I'm vegan, but still I'm a foodie. So you when you got the call that you were going to be on Gordon Ramsay's show, come on, I want you to. I want to live vicariously through you. Or you got the email. What happened? You woke up in the
well,
morning, brush your teeth. How did you get the
ah.
call?
So listen, I had hired a young man to do my social media because business was really slow, catering, hospitality. So started working 3 weeks in. He calls me and said, "Hey, would you like to do a reality show?" I said, "No, no, no, no." And he said, "It's being shot in the United Kingdom, and I want to see if you want to do it." I said, "No, I don't want to do that." He said, "It's with Gordon Ramsay." I said, "Sign me up." I couldn't believe it. I said, "Yeah, I'll do it. Sign me up." So he said, "Is it okay to give them your number?" I said, "Please do." They called me in less than 2 hours to see, told me they'd been researching and saw a lot of my work on Instagram and went on and on and on. And the rest was history. Within 3 months, lots of interviews and Zoom calls and meeting with psychiatrists and the whole 9 yards. An amazing experience. I would do it all again and again and again. It was great.
Not only are you an African American man, but Atlanta. I know you're from Memphis. Whoop whoop. I get that. But from Atlanta, and you're going to be going to the United UK, filming one of Gordon Ramsay's, the next level chef. Look, you're going to be a contestant. You got this. You got this. You did not come through the fire just to,
No,
you know what I'm saying? You got this. And
no.
no matter what's for you is for you. So the fact that you're on the show, let me tell you why I'm so, just so interested in you. You're a kidney transplant, for 15 to 17, 15 years, correct? Or is it
Yes,
17?
17
15
years.
years, 17 years.
Hmm.
you're at your lowest, because come on, it has to be depressing. You speak about that,
Oh
which
yeah.
speaks about mental health. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so what did you do for your mental health when you were rejected 3 times for a transplant? You're going on your 17-year dialysis,
Yes.
right? You lost
Yes.
so much weight. What was so it's basically you feel like you're being choked, like, oh my God, what else, God?
Yeah.
Because I don't like the saying, God doesn't give you more than you can handle. I know I should accept it, but I can't deal with that saying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So what was your moment to, like, how?
Yeah. The first time they turned me down, I was like, that was a stain. So the second time, I'm thinking, okay, I'm good. I've been doing my treatments, blah, 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 blah. But I wasn't doing everything right. But the third time, I was like, nah, because it's a bone crusher to be turned down. They hold everything in their hands
Mm-hmm.
as if they're God, and they're not. But the thing is, I wasn't ready to receive it. Because had I gotten it then, I would have
Mm-hmm.
possibly not taken care of it. And so after the near death experience, I lost some weight. So I think I lost maybe 50 or 60 pounds. So the fourth time I went back, the same doctor turned me down. She says, hey, Mr. Taylor, you look transplant ready. And I'm
Oh,
like, no,
okay.
no, no. Even before that, I went to my nephrologist. My sister called me first and says, hey, um, I got these old lab boxes. You think I should keep them? I said, no, hang on to them. I was like, something's going on. So 2 days later, I had another appointment with my nephrologist. And she says, hey, Mr. Taylor, what's going on with your transplant? I'm like, God is moving. He's moving. I said, Lord, I can feel you moving. And so she looks at me and I said, well, I don't know. Um, they turned me down already. She said, well, listen, it's going to happen through Emory. We're going to go back. I'm going to be your biggest advocate. This is going to happen. I said, okay. And she said, well, let's get you set up. Let me get the social worker. And the social worker just happened to be in the room. And I was like, wait, she said, I'm over here. And and she said to her, can you get Mr. Taylor set up for evaluation for kidney transplant again? She said, I'll get on it. Called me the next day and gave me a date for evaluation. It was like maybe a week later. I went in, and that's when the young doctor told me I look transplant ready. I did not receive those words. And went in this ear and came out of the other. Because I'm thinking, they've already turned me down. And then she looks at me and says, the next time you see me, when you look into my face, it will be in post operative
Mm.
after your transplant. And so my partner, he starts crying. I'm like, why are you crying? He said, did you not hear what she said? And I'm like, but I wasn't receiving it.
Right.
And so coming home, within days, I got a call. This was November. And they said, Mr. Taylor, we got you all ready. And I'm thinking something's going to go wrong. It's like, where is your faith? And so they say, well, you're all set, but we have to wait till your insurance gives approval. I'm thinking, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Here comes another no. And so she asked the question, how long have you been on dialysis? And so I'm nervous. I can't even count. I can't think or anything. And I said, I don't know. She said, don't worry. I have your chart right here. Let me look and calculate it and see how long you've been on dialysis. She said, oh, wow, 17 years. And she laughed. She said, Mr. Taylor, I advise you to pack a bag because it's going to happen very fast for you. And that began to be a slogan. Everyone called me, kept saying, it's going to happen very fast. She said, pack a bag, have it by the door. And then one of the nurses called and said, gave me the rundown and said, pack a bag, have it set by the door because the night or day of transplant, you won't have time to pack anything. You won't be able to drive. You won't, it's going to shock you. It's going to happen so fast. And indeed it did. One evening I had a wedding. on a Friday. And I said, Lord, I have all these events for December. Please don't let it happen in December. Isn't that crazy? I said,
Mhm.
please don't let it happen in December. But I was very specific and very detailed, just like I was told when I died. How many people get to die and come back? So I used all of that. So I preach, be specific and very detailed. I tell it to whoever will listen. We don't have it because you don't ask
Boy,
for
that's
it
right.
specifically and detailed.
Mhm.
It's a must. And so I said, Lord, don't let it happen December. Let it happen after or before. So that was the last event I had for November. I got the call that Friday night, like 3 or 4 in the morning, like Saturday morning. And I'm doing my dialysis treatment. I do treatments. I was doing treatments at home, next stage treatments, dialysis treatments over in the morning. And I got a call. I was not going to answer the phone. And my partner says, hey, that could be transplant. I'm like, yeah, right. Yeah, right. So I answered the phone and I heard this lady's voice say, Mr. Taylor, it's Emory Transplant. We have your kidney. And I dropped the phone. And my partner gets up and said, pick the phone up. I just went into shock. And said, how soon can you get to the hospital? I was speechless. So he grabs the phone. He started getting directions and all that and where to go and report and all that. The kidney was coming from Arizona. So I got to the hospital that morning, that Saturday morning. No, that Sunday morning, I think. I think it was that Saturday I got there, that Saturday morning. And I was transplanted the next morning, 24 hours later, that Sunday, which was the 17th at 11 a.m.
Are you hearing this? You were on dialysis for 17
17 years.
years and 17. Do you
Yes.
see?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. When it comes to numbers, I'm all into
Yes,
numbers. I'm
I
so
am
much
too.
into numbers. You are, again, like I told you, you're inspiring. And I love the fact that literally, what doesn't kill you make you stronger.
Yes.
You know, you're here using that message, and not only are you going on to be on a national syndicated, a national, the number one show out there, because anything Gordon Ramsay touch at
Yes. It's
television,
phenomenal. Yeah.
he
Mhm.
has like the Oprah touch for cooking, right?
Yes.
So you're using your purpose because you're using your prayer, you're very prayerful, your
Hmm.
praise and your purpose in order to, so you're blending everything into, and then you're going to do your little seasonings on the food. So in other
Yes.
words, you're seasoning us with everything that you're doing. You see what I'm saying? You're
Hmm.
educating, because, and I want people out there to please think about donating, because we're constantly, we're seeing what's going on in our community: high blood pressure, diabetes, on and on and on
Yeah.
and on, kidney disease. And we don't want our significant other, whomever in our life, to me, it has to be heartbreaking to know that someone's on the list and they eventually pass because no one donated.
Right.
So I think that's something, definitely think that, in our brown and black community, we have to start donating and get rid of the, well, God gave me these organs, I need
Yeah.
them. You
What
know what
is
I'm saying? Or if
Yeah.
your family dies, you're like, nope,
Mhm.
they're keeping it. No.
Right. And that's so sad. You go to funerals, and when I go to a funeral, the first I think, oh man, they're taking those good organs with them. And I know that's crazy to say that, but
Mhm.
we don't donate enough. And so many people die as a result of it.
Yes.
It's not fair to our communities, Latinos and we African Americans. It's not right. We shouldn't do that. It's heartbreaking, not just for the dialysis patients, but for the loved ones, you know,
Exactly. Exactly.
because you think about it, someone has to help take care of you while
Hmm.
you're going through this process,
True.
you know, and I've been so fortunate that God would place me with my partner. We've been together 22 years. And even that, I have to speak on that because I had prayed one day. And, people, I don't care what people say, but when I had my near death experience, that freed me because God said to me upon my leaving here, there was a slideshow of my life from the date of birth, date of conception, to the date of me dying. December 3rd, 2012, I was spiraling out. I was seeing my whole life backwards, very slow, like being in a washing machine on spin cycle. And I'm seeing my whole life from elementary, kindergarten, all of that backwards to the day of death. And I'm like, oh my God, why am I seeing what I did yesterday? And then it came all the way down, and I saw my partner packing, leaving, because I was so bitter and angry. I would argue with him because I wanted him to go back and live his life. Leave, go, just go. And God showed me that, him leaving. And I said, he's holding my hand. I said, why did you come back? He said, because I knew you would die if I left.
Mm.
And I prayed a specific prayer. I said, God, I want to be with someone that loves me like I love you. If you would connect me to that person, I don't care if they're Latino, white, black, Asian, I didn't care. But someone that's going to love me like I love you. And he connected me to this man. And when I was dying, I was so scared because after I realized I was leaving here, I was dying. And I said, oh, I just knew I was going to hell. But you know what God said to me? I love you.
Mm.
I've always loved you, son. And I was like, what? He said, it's your heart. It's your heart. It's your heart that I see. It's like nothing else matters but the heart. I'm like, oh my God. And shortly after that, I began to see all the things I could have and would have obtained, the life I wanted to live, all the dreams that He has placed in this big heart of mine. Every dream He began to show me. He showed me every dream, all the hidden dreams that I dare not share with anybody.
Right.
He
Mm.
showed them to me. And I'm like, oh my God. Even a home that I went and looked at in Buckhead, 1100 Cantor Road. And at that time, we lived that house was at 1100 Garment Road. At that time, we lived at 1100 Cantor Road, right off of Lenox. So I got depressed one day. So I went driving through Buckhead and I stopped at this in a circle of subdivision on Garment Road. And there were three houses for sale. I got out and I took a picture of each one. And I said, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, Lord, I'm bringing the Lord into this. I said,
Mm.
which one do I want? And I said, oh, Jesus, I want this one. And laughed and kind of drove off. And I drove off and I went back. I felt, let me get the address to the house. So I went back, pulled back, and looked at the address, 1100
Mm.
Carmen Road. I said, oh, Jesus. Oh, and I got a chill bump spine. My hair stood up. I said, we live at 1100 Cantor Road. I said, is that a coincidence? I said, that's probably nothing.
Mm.
And
Mm.
I said, oh. And so even during the death experience, after he's showing me all that, I didn't know I was going to get to come back. I'll back up a little bit. But he showed me all this stuff. Even the royal family I was shown, I'll come to this later. But he showed me the Queen of England and the sons of Diana. And I'm like, what does this mean? I don't know these people. What does this mean? And so I know I'm switching around a lot, but years later, the day I flew out of here to be on the Gordon Ramsay show was this day the Queen died.
Mm.
And I was a nervous wreck. I was like, Lord, what does this mean? So everything was predestined. You know, I didn't understand it, but when she died that morning, I was like, no way. There is no way. There is no way. And it just, so much I was shown that it just blew my mind. Totally blew my mind.
And that's why I want people to believe in their dreams and get rid of the naysayers. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
mhm.
Place the Lord first. You know, and
Right.
for me, I am not religious. I'm spiritual, right?
Yeah.
And I, like you, I'm shown things of what's going to happen because I know with the show, I know what's going to happen. So you
Hmm.
just have to sit and be still. Do the work now. Do the
Yes, you got
work, but sit and be still. So I have two more questions I need to ask. So you're going to write a book. A publisher comes to you and he says, "What's the title of your book? What would you title the book of your life?"
the book has been written. The title of this book is Destined to Die,
I love that.
Chosen to Live.
I like that. Destined to die, chosen to live.
And because I wanted to die, I
Mm.
had went as far as making my obituary, the program, the repast, what I wanted to serve, china plates, glassware, linen napkins, the whole 9 yards.
And look
Everything.
at that. Look at that. You did all of that. Look at that.
Look, look, look. Let me tell you what happened. Shortly after I came back home, I had to learn to walk again and all that. About 2 months later, maybe 3 months later, maybe 2 months later, I got a call from a client. Didn't know the people. And one morning, and she said they wanted me to do a repast for them, maybe 300 people, which is really big. And I said, okay. And I said, well, tell me what you want for the menu. So they wanted some Southern things, but some high-end end things like tenderloin of beef, maybe a trifle, just nice gourmet foods as well as some Southern stuff. And one thing they wanted was china, linen, tablecloths, chargers, everything I wanted from my. And I was so nervous. I said, this sounds like something I have written. And so the moral of the story is I had to choose someone to sit in the room with me because I had a grand mal seizure. And I
Mm.
had to choose who was going to sit with me. Like, as God is in my ear and telling me, you'll know who loves and honors me. So I had to choose between 3 or 4 people that had to sit in the room with me. And I chose a young lady. I don't even believe she was a living vessel. I think she was an angelic spirit. And her name was Joan James. Even her voice. She sat with me for maybe 30 days until I was released. And I asked her one day, what was she reading? She was reading something on the computer. And I said, what are you reading? She said, the Bible. This was in my hospital room. And I was like, I didn't want to hear anything scripture. I didn't want to hear nothing because I didn't want to hear anything else. And
Mm.
she read some scriptures. And I can't remember the scripture, but it pierced my heart. I just started sobbing and crying. And uh, and she said to me, "Have you heard of this church called the Vision Cathedral?" And I said, "Yeah," because when I died, the Lord said to me, "I want you to go to the Visions Cathedral Church. It's where you belong." And so that young lady sitting in my room, she looked at me and she said, "Have you heard of the Visions Church?" And I said, "Yeah, I've heard of it." Well, I'm nervous. I'm like, "Why is she telling me that?" And I knew it was God. And so I still wasn't going to go. I was probably going to be disobedient until a young guy came in the church, I mean, into the hospital room. He worked in maybe food service or something with a tray. I don't know what he was doing, but I wasn't totally together. And I said, hey, he used to belong to a church I was a member of. I said, where are you? He said, I'm at the Visions Cathedral.
That confirmation. Confirmation.
I said, no way. And so Joan James was sitting in the room with me. She said, confirmation. The Lord wants you at the Visions Cathedral. I said, oh, well, when I learn to walk, I'm certainly going to the Visions Cathedral. Dr. O.C. Allen is the pastor. And I was like, whoa, I guess I'll be going there. So I went there. And it changed my life because what he wanted me to do was love myself the way he created me, young, gay, and all. He doesn't care about me being gay. He knows who he created. He makes no mistakes. He didn't say go back and get your life together. He said go back and continue to love yourself and be who you are. Keep your heart right, because that's what I love so much about you, your heart. And I would get bitter and angry about doing so much for people, being a giver, giving till it hurts, give my last. And he said to me, you've always given because you were led. I was leading you to give. And he showed me all these instances. And one thing he showed me was somebody that called me and asked me for something, and I didn't do it. And I talked about it to somebody. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't know. He said, that was my child. I'm the one that led her to call you and ask you because I blessed you with it. But you did not honor her request when she asked you for it.
People need to understand and to be led by what God is telling them, because we think in our human form, nah, I'm not going to do it. But see, that could be a blessing. And what you did was, you don't know if that was an angel that God was using. We need to definitely get you back, on, because
all of this is in the book.
You are okay, but we also need to, after we're going to talk about that. But we definitely need you back on the show because we have to wrap up. But I want to thank David Robinson and his brand agency for, his PR agency for allowing you to, giving you the information and you making a decision to come on the show. We want to thank everyone for supporting the Women Are Worthy Network. Remember, please, if you want to join our tribe, you must subscribe, like, comment, share, because sharing is caring. We want to thank the one and only Mr. Darryl Taylor. Thank you. And we wish you many success. Now, you family now. You family. Okay. And
so we have to cook something real soon.
Definitely. And I'm in Cobb. So we should definitely, tell David or whatever, because I want to definitely get involved or see how we can assist with when you're doing your stuff during Christmas regarding the toy drive. So definitely let's connect on that. But we want to thank you. We wish you oodles and oodles and oodles of success. Okay. Because
one more thing. We do a Mother's Day brunch that's extraordinary. It's totally off of the charts. It's amazing. And I'll have more details about that real soon.
Definitely. Let me find out. Give me some information and we'll definitely put it out there. So we want to thank you. We want to bless you. You are just an amazing... Look, I can talk to you for hours.
Likewise.
Thank you. And again, you're amazing. Again, everyone, thank you for tuning in to the Women Are Worthy Network. Ciao. Bye, everyone.
Thanks, my pleasure. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.